This is Tarron Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. Today we're doing a review with Cinco. We're going over the 4 steps that we're working on with her for this week. This is the 11th week in our program, and so we're gonna go over those steps. We're gonna go over how she, how the first step went, how the first time teaching those exercises went, and then what we're working on improving it today, and then where we want to take it. And so we want to get her. I haven't brushed that horse off. After I get this horse ready to go, then we'll touch base and get started on step number 1. All right, so we got her all ready to go. First thing I do with all of these horses is I flex these horses. I want to make sure they're paying attention to me. They're getting soft to my hands. And when I get on them, it reinforces the idea to them that as soon as I get on them, we stand still. So when I flex these horses, it reinforces the idea of this horse standing still when I'm getting on. I want this horse to think about, and she's not doing that right now, but I want this horse to stand still when I get on this horse. One of the first colts I started long ago when I was young, I had the first wreck I had on this horse. I had 2 wrecks on that horse. The first wreck I had on that horse was I didn't have this safety concept, this principle on that colt, to where when I get on them, I want them to be I want their feet to be still. And so, this was a big old horse, and big old tall horse, hard to get on. I was short and small at that time, but I didn't teach that horse how to stand still when I was getting on. And what happened was we were in a big alley, and I was going to get on that horse. That horse was prancing around, and being young and inexperienced, I jerked on that horse just like you would do. Just a bad habit I had with some of the older horses. If they wouldn't stand still when I was getting on them, I'd just jerk on them. Well, I jerked on this horse, and that horse jumped. I lost my balance, and I drug down that alley probably 100 feet or so. Thankfully, my foot come out of the stirrup. I believe I for some reason I had heard this. It's like, well, if you roll over to your stomach, your foot will come out. And for some reason that popped up into my mind at that moment, and my foot dropped out of the stirrup, and everything was good. But from that point on, I realized the importance of having that horse stand still when we go to get on. And so I always make sure that the first thing I do when I get on this horse is flex this horse. I want this horse to think about me. I want this horse to think about keeping her feet still. And so if this horse, just like she did a second ago, she thought about just walking off, then I'll do the opposite. If that horse walks forward, I'll back that horse up. At this point, at this stage in these horses' training, they understand all of that, and we can do that. So anyway, So step one, what we're working on with this horse is her yield and bend. I want to go through this, you know, when I was teaching this exercise to this horse, she was pretty sticky in her hind end. She didn't want to put much effort into yielding that hindquarters, and so I spent some time yielding those hindquarters to get her broke loose. And so day one, that was a lot of this, just making sure we got that hind end broke loose before I added this bend right here. And so far, you know, so we've continued to, you know, I've kept that into consideration, kept that in the front of my mind, and I want to make sure that she is for sure yielding that hindquarters really well when we come out here. See, she still remembers that we worked on it quite a bit, and so she's putting some effort into moving that hindquarters. It's not super pretty. That wasn't super pretty. It wasn't super consistent, but she put some effort in, and so I waited for her to get soft and then go back into that bend. And so today I want to make sure that we can go through and yield those hindquarters, that she steps around there, gets a little more cadence. I want some more cadence in there. I want some softness where she's moving those feet well, and she steps around this circle really well and soft. And I want to make sure that we can do it on both sides. So that left side was better than this right side, and so I want to go back to this right side. She's a little softer in my hands. She had some more cadence in her feet, so that was good. And so progressing this horse, I wanted to make sure that we can go in the walk, trot, and canter. Oh, I love how this horse lopes around. She's got a little action. She's got a little speed to her today. Feels really good. But I want to make sure that I can yield that hindquarters at all three gaits. Now we can come back into this bend, and we can do the exercise all three gaits, all three on both sides. And so just progressing it, taking this horse, taking this exercise further, I want to make sure that she's doing every part of that correctly, that she's doing it in a collected manner. I like the frame of mind she's in today. She's got a little bit of fire to her, which is good. You know, I want her to be able to put some more extra effort in. You know, she's kind of on the lazier side, so I like that she's coming out here with a little bit of energy. So step 2 is this exercise we're working on, which it's called posts and circles, what it's called. But I want to lope up here to this fence line. I want her to lope straight up here. If she leans one way or the other, so she leaned to that right side a little bit. So when I was teaching this exercise, she did not want to stay in this trot at all. And she's still, we need to help her free up right here. Of course, she trots around here. You know, she's following her nose pretty good, but I need her to speed up and step around. And so same on this, going this direction. Today I want to be cognizant of how her feet feel. I want to make sure that she's keeping that forward momentum. Yes, she's following her nose, but the big thing, the direction don't matter if she's not moving her feet. And so I want to make sure that she's following her nose and she's keeping those feet moving. If she breaks down to a walk, I'm gonna roll my spurs up, make sure that she gets back up into that trot. That was better. And so taking this exercise forward, I want to make sure that she's keeping that good cadence in this circle, that she keeps her feet moving, she's following her nose, she's still thinking about breaking down to that walk. And so I want to make sure that she's keeping that forward momentum in this circle. And that's the biggest thing I'm feeling with her, just progressing this exercise, is just making sure I want her getting off my feet here. We get down here, I want her to move those feet, not be worried about turning or stopping or doing any of this stuff. I want her just to follow her nose around here, keep those feet moving. She'd rather lope around here than trot. There. Just a nice little horse right here. Look how pretty that little trot is. Just pretty. And so, step number 3 is us working more in this vertical flexion. I want to make sure that when I have her at a walk, we can walk forward. I can press her with my feet, and she drives into her face. And so I'm cognizant when she gives, I give my hands back to her. I give my feet back to her at the same time. So what I mean by that, my feet, I take off of her a little bit. I release the pressure. Release the pressure down, I would say. And then I give my hands forward. And so right here, I want her following her nose, just like in our different exercises we just worked on. I want her following her nose, and I want her driving up into her face just a tad. And all of this is just it's a stepping stone to where you can take this horse into a turnaround from this position. Once you teach this horse shoulder control, you can take this horse into a turnaround, and you teach this horse how to draw back and go through with your cow turn is the same thing. And so I want to be able to, we're starting to work on that stuff, and it all starts just piece by piece, adding step by step. This side, she's a little stiffer. She's getting a little more bound up, coming around the circle a little bit. So I might take my hand out here a little wider, help her free up just a little bit, coming around here. So the same thing, when I put my feet on her and I pick up these reins, I want her to get soft in my hands. I want her staying light on my hands. I don't want her rooting down, pushing down. I don't want any of that. I want this horse light in my hands right here. So that was really good. Progressing this exercise largely, I want to make sure that this horse is just following her nose. I want to be able to do this exercise at a trot, which we probably get to there later this week. But I want her to make sure that she's staying between my legs. That we're working on improving this circle a little bit more. So she's getting off the pressure off of my outside leg. And if I'm needing her, if she's cutting the corner on this side, I want to make sure that she's soft to my inside leg. And so that's how we'll improve this exercise going forward. Okay, so step number 4 we're working on is getting this horse ready. It's exercise right before we start teaching this horse how to yield or how to side pass on the fence. And so I'm gonna yield this horse's hip. I'm walking down in a straight line. I'm gonna yield this horse's hip, put my inside foot on her, and yield that hip, and let her sit here straight. Let her catch her breath. Let her think about it. And so when I was teaching this exercise, she did pretty well. I need to continue to be cognizant to make sure that she doesn't just move her front end. I want her to actually disengage that hip, keep her front end pretty still, and I want that hip to come around. And so that's just going to help. When we do teach her, we we have her do that, and then we teach her what our inside leg means to move her rib cage. See right there, it wasn't very good. She backed up, she moved her front end around. I want to make sure that she's disengaging that hip right there. Which a lot of times, if you have trouble, we talked about how we had trouble disengaging that hip. When we were in the yield and bend, and so it makes sense that she'd still have a little bit of trouble with it at this stage. But we just want to be cognizant of it and improve it. So I don't want to tip her nose too much to where she, because she will follow that nose through that turn, which is good. You know, I want her to be able to do that, but that's just a different exercise we're going to work on. So I'm going to tip her nose just a little bit this time and have her bring that hip around, just like that. And so today, I just want to get this a little better, that she yields that hindquarters, just like that. That was a lot better there. She didn't get straight, or she got back out of balance. I just brought her back straight. This is where I want her. I want her to be straight. You know, when I teach her, when we step it up and we teach her how to side pass right here, we want her to side pass straight. You know, we don't want her being crooked and doing all this stuff. So this is just setting the stage for it. And so progressing this exercise from here, I want to make sure, see, like right here, I want to make sure that she's disengaging that hip. When she feels me put that back leg, put that leg on her, I want her to think immediately to get that hip and move that hip over. She's a little confused, maybe binding up a little bit, and so, you know, going forward to improve it, I want to make sure that that's a quicker process. There. Because we had a little trouble with it right there. I want to make sure that we do it a couple more times so that she realizes what we're doing, and we quit her in a good place right there. We want to quit her when she's made some improvement. We want to quit these horses. We want to quit these horses when they've made improvement and they've relaxed and got soft. And so I'd say when we do quit these horses, or when to quit these horses, when we quit these horses, you know, when we're working on a certain exercise and we've made some progress, and so we've made progress, that horse has improved, and then that horse understands and relaxes, and so that horse relaxes and gets soft. And so those are just some things, 3 things there that we work on, or we think about when we're getting ready to quit a horse after we've worked on an exercise for a minute. So with her, I would say I want to remind her about disengaging that hip a little bit before we quit her, just reminding her of that exercise. I would say out of all of them, she was a bit more confused about that one, and it showed when we were disengaging her hip on the fence. And so just getting an opportunity to work this a little bit to where this is the thing she thinks about when we put her up. And so, like I said, I want to, when I go to quit her, you know, does she understand? Have we improved? And is she calm and relaxed? And I'd say she has improved. She understands what we're asking her, and she's relaxed down, and she's gotten soft. So for Cinco, that's our review. We reviewed and went through the 4 steps we're working to improve her in this 11th week in our program. She's been a really nice horse to to work. You know, they're all, every horse we have is enjoyable. There's things about them that you enjoy getting to ride and you getting to feel. And every horse is a little different, so it just makes for a good, exciting time. But that'll be our review for Cinco for this week. We'll catch you on the next one.